So I tell this story all the time, but I remember, so, I think like most people who are pre-med or especially an undergraduate, right, you're a high achiever. You've done very well in high school. You've gotten into a good college, and you're used to doing really well. You're used to getting A's most of the time, right? And I remember, so I went to Northwestern for undergraduate, and I took general chemistry, typical pre-med class, right? First quarter, we're on the quarter system at Northwestern, and I got a C. I cried for like 10 days straight. I mean, I was just devastated. I'm never going to get into medical school. I'm never going to be a doctor. I'm a failure. I'm stupid. I mean, all the things you tell yourself, right? Typical type A overachiever right here. And the reality is one of the lessons that I just, that I struggled with, I think like many new undergrads struggle with, is the transition from not working hard in high school, but probably not having to work as hard as some of your other friends who maybe didn't get A's so easily, because you sort of were at a different baseline. And so you worked hard, but then you got to college and you were with everybody else who was like you, and you needed to work even harder. And so I didn't have, I don't think the right study skill set yet to really know how I needed to like organize my time, how to organize my notes from class, and I think more importantly, how to find a group of other individuals who really became my pre-med buddies and who are still my best friends today, who stood up in my wedding with me many, many years ago. Now I'm married for like 13, 14 years. And who, we really walked through those tough times together. There are milestones in medical training: organic chemistry, physics, taking the MCAT. I walked through all those experiences with somebody. So, I mean, I guess it's, lesson learned, which I would have identified even earlier, is how important it is to have camaraderie through this entire process. Even when you get into medical school, you're studying your exams, you're taking your step exams, you take your board exams in residency and all these other things. You really need to have a group of people who you can study with, bounce ideas off of, and not just study with. Even now as I'm in my career, my phone is beeping now because I have this core group of 5, women on faculty in Northwestern who we just support each other. We send text messages, we throw out ideas. When we're frustrated, we vent to each other. Having that group of individuals who's going to walk with you and support you and have your back, no matter what stage of training you're in, I think is incredibly important, especially in a field where you're going to be making a lot of personal sacrifices and throwing yourself into this calling that you have. You really need to have other people to support you through it. Friends, family, significant others, your children, if you have them already before you start the process, or if you have them during the process. Everybody's got to be on board. So I think that's one of the things. And I think the other lesson from that experience is, critique yourself, but don't tear yourself down, right? I mean, the level of my devastation based on that 1C was definitely out of proportion to what it should have been, which is, I probably would tell myself back then to flip my attitude and think about it as an opportunity for growth, and to not focus as much on the failure, but focus on the area of opportunity. And that's something that's still a hard lesson to learn when you're a type A and an overachiever, but you, as you move through life, and gain maturity, you start to learn ways in which to do that. And again, that's where surrounding yourself with other people who are going to speak those truths to you, I think is really, really, really important. And then, I think the other thing I think I'm learning more and more now, especially since I've become a mom, is that, we talk about this whole idea of work-life balance. And I think I've heard other people say this. I don't even know what the word balance means. It's really work-life choices. And in some seasons of life, you're going to choose to prioritize certain things over other things. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure at your home or personal life, or that you're a failure in your professional life, but you have to have priorities, and you have to make choices about what those priorities are going to be. You cannot do it all. You cannot be successful at it all. And you have to figure out what's right for you and your family, at the time that you need to make these decisions. So I think that's a lesson that I'm continually learning, and that's become even more salient now about how do I put some great opportunities aside and learn to say no to some things that are good things, but they're just not good for me right now. I just have different priorities right now, and it doesn't make me any less of a doctor or any less of a researcher or an educator. It's just, I have a 19-month-old, and so now this is what I have to focus on. And for earlier in my career, it may have been, I had an ailing parent, or you might have a close friend, who needs support, or whatever it might look like for you, or personal health issues, or whatever it is. Don't sacrifice your own well-being for this calling, even though it's an important and noble calling. You're not going to do anybody any good if you don't take care of yourself and your family. So